Baltimore's state's attorney, Marilyn Mosby, and her upcoming trial and some of her political opponents and all of that. Let's do this, take a quick break, and come back with more of the Diamond K Show right after this on firetelevision.com. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Welcome back. You man, Diamond K in here. Of course, the Diamond K Show on firetelevision.com. Baltimore's state's attorney, Marilyn Mosby, she is, she has been a controversial figure. I don't think she set out to be controversial, but she has moved against the grain. She has made some enemies. And she's made some enemies in some high places. And when you do things like that, when you make enemies in high places, that can cause backlash. A lot of Black politicians in the city of Baltimore have made some enemies, faced backlash, and unfortunately for some, it's landed them in jail. And that is exactly where opponents of the current state's attorney, Marilyn Mosby, that's where they want her to go. I don't think she's going there. I don't. But she is facing a trial. She is in the midst of a re-election campaign. She has, Marilyn Mosby, asked to postpone the trial that she is facing until September. That goes kind of, she's, pulling back on, just doing a reversal on what she initially said about this case. Initially, she wanted to move forward and get this thing done before the election. The election has been postponed, and she wants to push this trial back till after the election. So according to documents, WBAL obtained these documents. The state's attorney, Marilyn Mosby, is asking for her pending trial to be pushed back until September. As I said, this is a reversal from the earlier statement. She said she wanted to get a quick trial. She wanted it done. She wanted it over with because she is innocent. In February, she said, "What I'm asking for is that I be tried right now because I know I'm innocent." And I don't understand the strategy here, because the longer this goes on, especially through this election, it's going to be a tough election. And it's going to be a tough campaign. So her wanting to push this back, it gives her opponents ammunition. I have no idea why she wants to push this back, other than, just want to focus on the re-election and then worry about that. I guess that's what the strategy is here. Prosecutors are opposed to the state's attorney's new request to move the trial from May to September. The prosecution responded with, "This is a problem of the defense's own making." So, of course, they don't want to push it back. They know that it's going to be very difficult for her to handle this trial and run for re-election, and they want her to be unsuccessful in both. So Mosby was indicted by a federal grand jury on charges of perjury related to a COVID-19 financial hardship withdrawal and a false statement on a loan application, and her trial was set to start on May the 2nd. So this financial withdrawal, this COVID-19 hardship withdrawal, was of her own money. This is not the citizens of Baltimore's money. This is her money. But for whatever reason, you have these opponents focused on this. How dare she get her money early? You know how the commercial is. It's my money and I want it now. That's what she said. And they like, no, you should not be able to have your money. You should not be able to even have a business. Although the governor of Maryland has so many businesses and does so much shady business, but this black state's attorney, how dare you have a business? How dare you? And as frequently is the case, they want to put her in her place. All right. So Mosby's attorney is A. Scott Bolden, and he alleges that the U.S. Attorney's Office is engaged in a rolling production, which does not allow his client enough time to start trial in May. On March the 11th, the government, filed documents saying that the court should deny Mosby's request to have the charges dropped. She has not filed for re-election, but September would be after the primary. And the other thing is that she'll have the election in her rearview mirror. It would just make it easier for her. Easier on a lot of fronts. So she has maintained her innocence, and she said initially that I wanted the people of Baltimore to hear it from me. I did nothing wrong, she said. I did not defraud anyone to take my money from my retirement savings, and I did not lie on any mortgage application. All right. A conference will be held on Tuesday to discuss Mosby's motion for a continuance and the schedule for pre-trial proceedings. The judge must rule on Mosby's motion to postpone her trial. So do you think that Marilyn Mosby should be allowed to postpone the trial? Do you think that she's going to run for re-election? As I said, she has not filed yet. Many candidates wait until the end to officially file, but they go through the motions. But once they file, the scrutiny is there. The Elections Commission is going to focus in on your paperwork and your money and a lot of different things. So that scrutiny starts once you officially file that paperwork. She has not done that yet. That does not mean that she's not running, because she's moving like an incumbent who wants to stay in her job. That's how she's moving out here in these streets. So I think that she will run, and I think that she will become reelected. But that is not solely up to me. That is up to the citizens of Baltimore to decide. And I definitely think that this is going to be a difficult race. It's going to probably be the most difficult race that she's been involved in thus far. And we're going to be following that and covering that here on the Diamond K Show at On Fire Television, onfiretelevision.com, the diamondkshow.com. So let's take a quick break, come back, and we'll talk about one of her opponents and the endorsement, the unlikely endorsement or likely endorsement, depending on how you look at it, that one of her opponents has received in this race. It's the Diamond K Show. Stay tuned. We'll be back after this. Welcome back. Welcome back. You made Diamond K in here, of course, the Diamond K Show, onfiretelevision.com, the diamondkshow.com. So Republican governor who is on his way out, what you call a lame duck governor, Larry Hogan, has endorsed Thuroo Vignarajah for Baltimore City's state's attorney. So it is not often that you have that. But the governor yesterday endorsed Mr. Vignarajah to take Marilyn Mosby's job. I'm going to say that on some instances, one instance I'm surprised, but one instance I'm not really surprised. A Republican is not going to win this particular seat, right? So you have some folks who operate as a Democrat in name only. You've heard that? Dino. And then they have the expression called a rhino, a Republican in name only. So someone will be in a certain political party because of where they live, and understand that you have to have, depending on where you live, the D behind your name or the R behind your name. But that doesn't mean that you're going to operate as a true Democrat or a true Republican. It just means that you understand the rules based on where you are campaigning and where you live, and you are operating accordingly. All right. So I think for all intents and purposes, Theroux is more a Republican than a Democrat. All right. And I've interviewed him, on several occasions. And he's a nice guy. I don't like the association with Larry Hogan, but then on the other hand, uh, Mr. Vigneraj is probably thinking, "Oh, I can't turn down any endorsement of that caliber." And we know that Larry Hogan is not a fan of Marilyn Mosby. I don't think I've seen a black Baltimore politician that he is a fan of. But through Vigneraj posted on his social media that he is honored to have the endorsement of Governor Hogan. He knows that without leadership at the local level, the fight against violent crime is infinitely harder than it needs to be. That's what he said. And Governor Hogan said this about Theroux Vigneraj. Theroux Vigneraj will restore trust, hold violent criminals accountable, and make our streets safer. He has the experience, integrity, and unwavering commitment to get the job done. I am proud to endorse Theroux's candidacy for Baltimore City State's Attorney. That is Maryland's Governor Larry Hogan. I just, like I said, I am not totally surprised by that. Theroux Vigneraj has a long-standing relationship with Fox 45 in Baltimore, and quite honestly, I think that Fox 45 in Baltimore, I think that broadcast, that station is more harmful than Fox News, the national brand. Fox 45 in Baltimore targets black politicians and tries to tear them down at every step of the way. If it's a black teacher, they're going to try to tear them down every step of the way. If there is some crime that happens in Baltimore, they are going to super focus on it, especially if it's a black person involved. And they're going to super focus on it. And then when they talk to somebody, Fox 45, when they talk to somebody on camera, they want to speak with the person who is the least ready to be on camera, because they want to portray black people in a certain light. That's what I dislike about Fox 45 in Baltimore. And the Fox affiliate, wherever you may live, could be different from them. So I don't know. And I've seen the Fox affiliates in many states, many cities. But I'm talking specifically about Fox 45 in Baltimore. If you live in Baltimore, you know what I'm talking about. They will talk incessantly about crime in Baltimore, what they call black on black crime, right? For the last, I don't know, over a month, all we've been seeing in national news is white on white crime, Russians and Ukrainians, right? It's covered differently, right? The amount of killing and shooting and the war that's going on in Ukraine, much worse than what's happening in Chicago by terms of the bombs and people having to be relocated and all that. But you would think Chicago's worse than Ukraine, the way that it's talked about nationally. Yeah, so that's my problem with Theroux's association with Fox 45. And I understand he's playing the media game, and I am definitely extending an invitation to him. He's been on the program before, and I am hoping to sit down and talk with him again about his candidacy for Baltimore City State's attorney, about his association with Fox 45. I thought he was going to be a commentator over there. He was on Fox 45's airwaves so much. And Fox 45 is not a friend of Baltimore City. Not for real. They may portray like they are, but they're not really. Does Fox 45 ever have any solutions? No. They only tear down black people. Yes, I understand what you may be thinking this. There's some black people that work at Fox 45, and that's true, and they're there to get a check. Right? They're there to get a check. And what are you willing to do for said check? Right? That is the question. But through Vic Naraja, as I said, has been on the Diamond K show before on more than one occasion, and I'm extending the invitation to him again to come back here, talk about why he feels that he is ready to have Marilyn Mosby's job, and what he plans to do differently if he gets in that role. So speaking of that role, we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back, and we're going to talk about Maryland's congressional district map. We talked about the election being pushed back. This is one of the reasons, the main reason why the election in Maryland is being postponed. And let's do this. Let's take a quick break and come back with more of the show after this. This is the Diamond K Show on FireTelevision.com, thediamondkshow.com. And we are back. Your man Diamond K in here, of course. The Diamond K Show on FireTelevision.com, thediamondkshow.com. So the issue of Maryland's congressional district map is back in court, right? And this has been an ongoing fight. Republicans, Democrats can't get along, can't agree on this map. So the latest hearing was today, and was strictly on the new map that lawmakers approved this week. So when you talk about the map, some people may wonder, what's this map? What do they mean, right? And I guess we can. There is a congressional drawing, a makeup of the area. Now there was a 2-hour hearing, which presented some evidence on the map. And the judge said that she would not rule on the merits. Now, the ruling from last week threw out an old map that's being appealed. And this is all about control, gerrymandering, control, right? So the judge heard from experts who said that the new map is more compact and addressed her concerns in her decision last week. And there's a whole bunch of legal mumbo jumbo and back and forth about that. Some of the plaintiff's attorneys question why a part of Baltimore City went from the heavily Democratic 7th district into the Republican 2nd district. So what is this fight about? If we can talk about this in plain layman's terms, what are they fighting about? Here is essentially what the problem is. So you have two sides fussing about this ruling, fussing about this map. At the heart of the matter is gerrymandering. What is gerrymandering? Gerrymandering is the act of manipulating the boundaries of an electoral constituency. So that's going to either favor the Democrats or favor the Republicans. So in a Democratic control area, the Republicans are going to be saying, oh, you're trying to draw the map to favor you. And in a Republican area, the Democrats are going to be saying the exact opposite. All right. So that's what we're talking about here. And ever so often, they get to redraw the map. And what that does is if you draw the map in a certain way, y- you can get more Democrats or Republicans elected. So they have this Republican area or an area where they have registered Republicans. And if you draw the map so it includes more of Baltimore City, Republicans are thinking that you're going to all but ensure that the Republican is not going to get elected because, of course, this is a heavily Democratic area. So they want to keep the map in a way that the seats are not contested and they can keep the Republicans. So that's what the argument is about. That's what the back and forth is about, and that is why the election has been pushed back. They want to be able to agree as hard as that's going to be. They want to be able to agree on the drawing. What area covers this district and what area covers that district? So lawmakers passed the bill with a veto proof majority. Hogan's curious, like there's this whole thing. So the decision could further delay this year's primary in Maryland. Currently, the primary is set for July the 19th with the filing deadline of April 15th. As of now, this could get pushed back. Okay. This could get pushed back. Last month, a retired Maryland Court of Appeals judge who is hearing a similar challenge to the state's legislative district map ordered the primary be moved from June the 28th to July the 19th in order to have more time to consider the challenge. And it is not over. It is not over. It still is an ongoing thing. So I don't know how this ends, right? I don't know how this ends. I don't know if it is going to go down as far as the election when it has been decided. We shall see. The jury is still out about that.